Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. It's been a while. I haven't really recorded anything. It's Ramadan, some Ramadan mubarak. We're in the last 10 days now, alhamdulilah. My Ramadan has been really nice. For the first half of it, I was still focusing on school stuff, but alhamdulillah, I just graduated and I'm so happy. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what it was like for me being in law school as a practicing Muslim, especially as a convert to Islam, because I feel like my experience isn't like the experience of a lot of people. But first off, I just want to say, inshallah, you and your families are doing well. This whole pandemic situation is going to get better soon, inshallah. We just have to follow through with the guidelines that we're being given. Be careful, be cautious, and make dua, and try to make the most out of this bad situation. Ramadan alone in the house with my husband has been tough, but alhamdulillah, you know, we spent time together. We had iftar together every night. I spent a little bit of time with my family. We didn't really get to visit any of his family, but you know, we're trying to just spend a little bit of extra time just reading Quran and making sure we're not missing any prayers, and just trying to take advantage of the time without being able to spend it out in the public with other people, and it still has been good and it still has been beneficial, alhamdulillah. Anyway, yeah, just this week I just graduated law school, alhamdulillah. Unfortunately, yesterday, Friday the 15th, was supposed to be our graduation day, but of course because of the situation we didn't have a graduation ceremony. But it's okay. I'm still feeling super proud. I'm still feeling super happy. I'm feeling super privileged to have had the chance to obtain a degree and to have family that has been supportive. I was able to take out loans. There are a lot of people who, because of their immigration status or whatever other situation is going on, they're not able to do that, and because of that, because of this education system that we have in the United States, where if you can't pay, you can get a good education. But I was able to borrow money. Unfortunately, I have to pay that back, and it's something that I'm very anxious about, and it's something that I wish I didn't have to do, especially because I have to pay it back with interest. But if I didn't take out those loans, I wouldn't be able to get my degree. So it's something that, you know, I'm sorry that I have to do that, because Islamically paying interest is something that is haram. But I didn't have a choice in this case. So I'm going to, inshallah, get a job where I can make a good amount of money and pay back those loans as quickly as possible. So being in law school as a Muslim, it was tough. I went to a school in Brooklyn where I thought that because of how many Muslims there are in the neighborhood, there would be a lot in the school, and I was really excited to start. Especially because I started as a Muslim. The first day I was wearing hijab. I didn't have to show up one day just wearing it and then have to explain to people that I became a Muslim. I just already was, and it was fine. But I was most of the time the only girl wearing hijab. I think in my class, like my year, I was the only one for the whole first year, and then there was a girl who transferred my second year. So her and I were the only two in my class. There were, I think, 2 upper class girls, and then as I moved up, there were a few other girls who came in. So I think overall when I graduated, there were about 7 girls who wore hijab. There are other Muslim girls who didn't wear it. So it wasn't, so it was just tough because wherever we were, we stood out. I felt like I couldn't just be me. I was the hijabi girl. It was never really an issue. It was kind of just inside personally. Like, I never had professors bring it up or anything like that. I never felt like I couldn't speak out in class or I couldn't voice my opinion or anything like that. People weren't rude to me or anything. I think I have some advantage because even though I'm Muslim and even though I'm wearing hijab, I'm still a white girl, and I still have a lot of that privilege where like people see me and they don't really know how to react to me. Like, they know that I'm Muslim because they see that I'm dressed a certain way, but I have, if you see my name on paper, it's an Italian name or at least a European name. Sometimes like people think it might be Spanish, but it's definitely not an Arab name, it's definitely not a South Asian name, it's definitely not like a typical Muslim name. So sometimes I would, for example, go on interviews for jobs and people would see me and like not match up my name to my resume. That's a separate issue, looking for jobs. But just in terms of like classroom and other students, I think people just had a lot of trouble like knowing how to like figure me out. I don't know if that makes sense. There were just certain things that would happen. Like, for example, there was someone in my class who had gotten a scholarship for Italian Americans. He was talking about it and I asked him how to apply. And another girl said, "Oh, you must be half Italian, right?" And I said, "No, you know, I'm full Italian." And she was just visually confused and like just kind of let it go. But I feel like that's what most people do. They're just kind of uncomfortable and they don't know how to react, so they just kind of don't. But little things like that were really the only things that would ever happen. The hardest part was going on interviews for jobs. The law world, like the corporate law firms, are mostly made up of white people and mostly made up of white men. And I would have family members tell me, just take off the hijab for the interview. Just go on the interview without it. And I have done interviews without hijab, and I'll be honest, I did not feel comfortable in them because I felt like I was hiding. I felt like I was just not being honest about who I was. And I felt like I am qualified for these jobs and I can do the work and I can do well and I deserve these positions. I shouldn't have to hide any aspect of who I am. And to be honest, right now I don't have a job. I did well, alhamdulilah, my grades are pretty good. I am totally qualified for any position, but every interview I've gone on, I either haven't gotten called back or I just haven't gotten any offers. But you know, inshallah, I will get something. I'm not that worried. I just have to keep trying. It is a very competitive area of law. I mean, it's a very competitive field. I've spoken to career counselors about it. I had one counselor tell me that law firms really want diversity, so don't hide this aspect of yourself because, you know, they want you. They want to put you on the front page of their brochures or whatever to show that they're diverse. And then I've had other counselors, when I brought up the topic, not know how to react because they know that it's going to be an issue. They just don't know how to advise you. But I did have one woman who I met who wears hijab. I met her through the Muslim Bar Association. Amazing advice. She said, don't give up your faith. Use it as an asset, because this is something that people want from you. They want to see that you're strong. They want to see that you're not giving something up of yourself, and you're still doing a really great job, and you're able to do that great job. You shouldn't give up your faith. And it is difficult, but she said, you know, think about what you're losing by giving up a part of your faith and what you're gaining. And if you lose out on maybe a position where the firm wasn't ready to have a visually Muslim employee, it's okay. There are going to be other opportunities. You're not losing an opportunity. And there are other issues that came up a lot in law school. If you're thinking about going to law school, or if you've been there, or I think any kind of higher education, you might know that there is a lot of alcohol, there is a lot of drinking in law school. People drink a lot. It's just part of the culture. My first year of law school, we took our last final. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon and everyone went to the bar after. And of course, you know, I just went home. A couple of times I did go out with friends and I felt uncomfortable. I felt like I shouldn't be there. Even though I wasn't drinking, I felt like being a visibly Muslim person in that environment just wasn't good. So I stopped. Most events at the school, because everyone is legal age to drink, most events have alcohol, most events have a lot of drinking. So that was a challenging part. I felt left out a lot. I felt like I didn't fit in a lot. But you know, I made it through, alhamdulillah, and I don't regret anything. There's nothing that I missed that I regret having missed. I met amazing people. I met very bright people. If you go to law school, you know, the thing is, like, a lot of us start off in high school and college being top of the class, you know, very smart people. I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about like the majority of people who go to law school. And then they get there and they realize that they're not on top anymore. And there are a lot of people who are more intelligent than them. And there are a lot of people doing better than them. And especially if you get your grades back for the first time, a lot of students are shocked and a lot of students are depressed because they feel like, I was the smart person my whole life, and now what's going on? I'm not doing as well, I'm not competing as well as everyone else. So it causes a lot of doubt, it causes a lot of insecurity, and I've heard a lot of people say, not just me, but like people never questioned their ability to do well in school or their intelligence until they got to law school, and then they said, wow, I don't think I'm as smart as anyone else, as everyone else. And I remember 100 times calling my mother, crying and saying like, I really don't think I can do this. I really don't think I'm smart enough for this. But alhamdulillah, I did it, and I'm very happy, and I'm very proud of myself. If you're thinking about going to law school, I say think about it a lot, because it is a big financial undertaking, and it's something that I wish I had thought about more before I started, because I went into law school with the idea that I wanted to help other people. I wanted to be a public interest lawyer or an immigration lawyer. I wanted to help the people who are on the bottom, who really need the most help. And I really love justice because of my religion, because of Islam. I love justice and I value justice. And I wanted to work in that field. But after 3 years and after racking up an enormous amount of debt, I realized that I don't have that freedom to work in that field like I want to. I have to first find something that is more sustainable and something that will help me pay back these loans before I can move on to doing good work like that. Inshallah, one day I'll be able to do it, but right now it's just not practical for me. How can I help other people when I'm in this hole myself? You know, and I feel like this is something that is this vicious circle, because so many people start off law school wanting to go into public interest work, and then they get into debt like me, and they realize that they can't do it. They can't go into a field where they're not making enough money to live, let alone pay off their debts. So that's what I would say, you know, think about why you want to go, and think about the situation that you're getting yourself in at the end, because 3 years is not that long. And when those 3 years are over, you're going to have to find a job and you're going to have to start paying those bills. And it's just something that I've realized as I've gotten older. I was always so idealistic, and I was always saying, you know, I don't care if I have to be poor if I'm doing good work. But the thing is, you can't help other people unless you're in a stable position on your own. You can't give if you don't have. So this is what I've realized as I've gotten older. And you know, inshallah, we're fighting here in the US for free education, but we don't have it yet. And we're fighting here in the US for student loan forgiveness, but we don't have it yet. We're going to keep fighting, and we're going to be strong, and we're going to win, inshallah. But right now, we have to be practical, and we have to think about the situations that we've gotten ourselves in. That's all I would say to people who want to go to law school. And also think about what law school actually is, because when I started, to be honest, I didn't know. I didn't know what law school was. I didn't know how I was going to be learning. I didn't know how I was going to be tested. I didn't realize that there is an enormous amount of stress and an enormous amount of expectations that are not realistic. You know, that you learn an entire semester worth of material and you have one exam at the end where you have to just take everything out of your brain and spit it back out on a piece of paper. And depending on how well you're able to do that, you get a letter grade back that doesn't reflect how intelligent you are. It doesn't reflect how well you would be able to do in practice, because a lot of what you're doing as a lawyer really is not related to what you're doing in law school. So the stress is ridiculous. The expectations are ridiculous. So, I mean, if you know any law students, you've heard all of this. You've heard us all complaining, but it's just the truth and it's just the way it is. But, you know, there's a chance that this will be reformed. There's a chance that this will be better. And we need lawyers, and we need good lawyers. And we need people who are working for justice and people who care about justice. And Muslims are amazing in that Islam values justice and loves justice. And that's why Muslims should go to law school. But you should know what to expect when you do it. That was my whole point of making this. And I'm happy to have been able to check in with you guys. I'm sorry it's been a while. If you have ideas about what you'd like to have me talk about, let me know. Oh, one thing I want to mention is my husband and I actually started our own cooking channel here on YouTube, and I'm going to put a little clip in of one of our videos here. This is the moment of truth.
1 2 3
Bismillah. Check that out if you want to. We're making new recipes every week. We're having a lot of fun together doing it. We're fighting a little bit, but not too much. And we're happy with the way it's coming out. So if you're interested, check that out. That's all I want to say. Assalamu alaikum. Take care. Eid mubarak. I hope, inshallah, your Ramadan has been fantastic and the last couple of days have been fantastic too. Keep me in your du'as. Send me dua requests. I will make dua for you too, inshallah. And that's all. Take care. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.